Okay, all right. We are back with another great episode, with another great guest. This only, Will Martinez from Grey's Anatomy and Organized Crime. Man, Dick Wolf and Shondo. This guy does it all.
He's getting it done, man. An up-and-comer who knows the game. That's why it's important. And he does, all kidding aside, he gives some great advice to you guys out there who are trying to do this on what to do on set, how to be respectful, who to talk to, how to pay attention to ensure that you get asked back on more sets and more gigs. So a really important one that you guys are definitely going to want to check out.
Oh, that's for sure, man. We're super excited about it. That's later on the show, though. Now let's get a little crazy. What's up, everybody? Oh, my goodness. Episode 224 of Inside the Crazy Ant Farm. Let's get crazy. You guys know your host with the most, myself, J-Lo Fantastic, and the one and only Mal.
What's up?
There's so much happening, guys. You don't even know. You don't even realize. But it's great. It's a fun time, and that's what we're here for. But before we get this thing started, of course, be sure to leave a comment on the podcast, wherever you're listening to this podcast, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Anchor Music, all the good things, all the good places. Leave a comment. Let us know what you think. Rate the podcast. And leaving a rating actually helps the show get seen by more people who enjoy entertainment news, especially those who are trying to break into the entertainment industry itself. So, we want to help those be in the room where it happens. That's what it's all about. But before we tease the rest of the show, be sure to head over to our website, www.crazyantmedia.com, where you start rocking the latest, greatest Crazy Ant Media gear. We have a little bit of everything for a little bit of everybody. So it's all good, man. Get there right now. 15% off while supplies last. We cannot say enough how much we appreciate everyone who heads over there and checks out our merch. It really means the world to us.
Did you know that you can buy candy?
Candy.
I'm thinking about buying little Hershey candy bars with our logo on it.
Yeah, there you go.
I mean, we eat a lot of chocolate.
It's true.
And why not have our brand on the chocolate? I'm just saying, you can too. It's awesome.
You can too. Oh my goodness. Super excited about this show because we're gonna be talking all about the update on the WGA strike. We're gonna be talking about Guardians of the Galaxy numbers. We're gonna be talking about all the stuff that's happening with HBO and Warner Brothers and Max and all the good shit over there.
We got a lot of streaming news.
Man, we really do. I mean, we are in the height of the streaming wars, so it's definitely going to be interesting. But let's dive into it with the biggest thing that's happening in Hollywood right now, which is the WGA strike. Now, we're talking about Amazon, HBO, Warner Brothers, TV, NBC Universal, Disney, CBS Studios, and other major struck studios will be suspending some of their first look deals amid the ongoing writer strike. Now, while the news of overall deals are being suspended is somewhat jarring and crazy for everybody, but this means it's really not unexpected because this is happening and this is kind of what follows suit. One thing the agents emphasize, though, is that no one has heard any talk of outright terminating these deals at this point. Such a move would make a much more drastic and likely would only occur if the strike drags on for an extended period of time. But I mean, there is some speculation that could happen. I mean, the move with the studios to cut off all expensive deals with big producers who are not only necessarily producing much of their content, but again, this is a situation that could occur only possibly months down the road. So, of course, this is an ongoing developing situation, but right now, that's the update of what is going on with the DGA strike. They are suspending some of the deals, the first look deals that are happening at these studios, which is, I mean, it's a little terrifying.
And in fact, a little bit later on in the news, we've got a pretty significant name who had a mega deal that is not being renewed. And we'll tell you who that is and what studio in just a minute. Yeah. But it's not just the WGA. We got all the GAs. The DGA is also about to have their contract expire at the end of next month. So their negotiators for the DGA, they gave a little video preview of their talks with the studios saying they are, quote, fighting to receive our fair share of the new global future. Now, the DGA began its round of bargaining on Wednesday with the Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers. The guild is focused on rewriting the streaming residual formula to account for growth in foreign subscribers. The DGA talks are underway as the Writers Guild members are, like we said, still on strike. The negotiations will take place actually in the same MPTP conference room in Sherman Oaks where the WGA negotiators spent 6 weeks attempting to reach an agreement before, obviously, those talks collapsed on May 1st. So as long as the AMPTP negotiators are occupied with the directors, it's not expected they'll have much opportunity to deal with the WGA. Not, as we've been telling you, that either side has expressed any interest in restarting those talks anyway. Now, the DGA contract expires on June 30th, as does SAG-AFTRA's contract. SAG-AFTRA is set to begin their negotiations on June 7th. So, guys, let's just lay that out there. There is a strong potential because, as I just said, the Writers Guild apparently is not interested in going back and renegotiating. They do not like what they had to say, and they're not happy. Now the DGA is in early talks, but they're going to start theirs, and they're clearly coming after the same things the writers wanted: more residuals, more open numbers about ratings, etc. And then SAG-AFTRA it's going to start. There could conceivably be a point where we see a couple of months down the road, directors, writers, and actors all on strike.
Yeah.
All on strike. What the fuck does a studio do if that is the case?
It is very, very crazy. And a lot of people have been asking too, what about those writers who are also producers? Do they still have to fulfill those producing obligations? Well, there was a threat this past week from studios that said for those particular people, writers that are producers, they could possibly be sued for not fulfilling their contractual obligations. But I also think that is just a threat and a ploy to try to get them to come to an agreement quicker, because the WGA and the spokespeople came out and said that is not true. That's not going to happen. Do not go back. And yeah, so they're sticking strong to this strike. It's going to be very interesting. And I don't know if a lot of people saw, we tweeted about it, but it was the president of SAG-AFTRA who does not want to strike at all. Fran from The Nanny, if you guys remember that show. Yeah, she does not want to strike whatsoever. She was trying to be very in the middle about it, but I feel like that's already a very divided union.
Yeah,
so I feel like a lot of their conglomerates will still strike.
Well, and look, she might have just endangered herself for repeating as president, because my feed blew up with actors saying she doesn't speak for us at all. She's clueless.
Yep.
We are fighting for the same thing that the WGA and the DGA are. We want those same type protections, and we don't know what the fuck she's talking about.
Yeah.
So that could be potentially really dangerous. And I should say, like what you were just talking about too, the producers that the writers / producers that they are trying to get to threaten to come back, they're the showrunners.
Yeah.
And so it's a sneaky way of trying to get the showrunners to come back and write. And they're using their producer moniker over their head to try to get them in there. And I'm glad the WGA didn't fall for that shit. It's like, listen, showrunner, but I'm not writing. Exactly. I'm not coming. And since we're not in production, I don't have any producer responsibilities. Mm-hmm. So what am I coming in there for?
Yeah,
smart.
It makes absolutely no sense. But yes, that is the update right now. And be sure to follow us at @JLoganAustin and at Crazy Ant CEO to stay up to date. And of course, ITCAFpodcast, because we have all the news all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Now heading over to Disney, their shares slipped a little bit, as much as 9% in the trading Thursday after the media conglomerate reported earning for the first 3 months of 2023. Disney's earning report showed progress on the cost-cutting front, now with streaming losses narrowing for the quarter. But analysts cited a weak advertising outlook and uncertainty over when its streaming business can contribute to the bottom line. Now, Disney Plus did lose 4 million subscribers for the quarter end, which was April 1st, including a loss of 300,000 in the US and Canada, the bread and butter. But the company narrowed its streaming losses by 400 million. Now that's down 26% year over year. And Disney said it would remove content from Disney Plus to cut costs while also expecting to raise prices on the ad-free Disney Plus tier. In addition, CEO Bob Iger announced that the company would launch an integrated Disney Plus /Hulu one app experience in the US by the end of 2023. That makes sense. Indicating that Disney's desire to hold on to Hulu from Comcast. That only makes sense. That buyout's going to happen at some point this year. Under the terms of Disney's Comcast deal for Hulu, the guaranteed minimum value of Hulu right now is $27.5 billion, meaning Comcast's 33% stake is worth a minimum about $9.2 billion. More than 40% of Disney Plus subscribers in the US are bundled with Hulu, though. So, I mean, it would be beneficial for Disney to just go ahead and buy that 33% from Comcast, I think. So it's very interesting.
It makes total sense, but look at those numbers and why the advertisers and the critics are saying, when will it contribute to the bottom line? They saved $400 million.
Mhm.
That's nowhere fucking close to what they would pay $9.2 billion
Exactly.
to get the rest of Hulu.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting, when will this finally balance out? Now, as Logan just mentioned, Disney Plus and Hulu will be merged. So what does that mean for your favorite shows? Well, you could be in trouble.
Yeah.
Disney will cut the overall volume of content produced for Disney Plus and Hulu as it deals with a much tighter macroeconomic environment, not to mention the uncertain impact of the writer's strike that began recently. Now, after spending just under $30 billion on content in Disney's 2022 fiscal year, which ends in September, Iger has targeted a $3 billion in savings for 2023. How are they going to do that? Well, Disney will trim the volume of new content that it produces for 2024 and 2025. It will also weed through, and here's where I said your show might be in trouble. It will also weed through the vast library of content on both Disney Plus and Hulu, removing some of the little watched titles that are too costly to maintain as available titles due to residuals, royalties, music licensing fees, and other costs. Meaning, if your show ain't getting numbers, it's out of there, whether you like it or not, which could be bad. Disney will take a write-down of $1.5 billion to $1.8 billion later this year to acknowledge the loss of value in content that had been developed amid the rush to load up Disney Plus and Hulu. That would be Chappick. With buzzy shows that would draw new subscribers. Now that sometimes worked and sometimes didn't. Like, right? They were content. Some of it went over and some of it did not. So it's risky all the way around. There's just no way around it.
I think we're at a point right now in the streaming wars where not everybody has every platform, and it's to the point where they're only signing up for the platform when a show that they want to watch comes out. And then once that show's over, they get rid of it. So I think a lot of these streamers are feeling the effects from the A and B situation. So it's going to be very interesting to see how that continues forward. And like we've talked about on the show, like you've talked about all the time, Bob Iger saying the bubble is going to pop. And I feel like that could potentially be soon, within at least the next 10 years, maybe the next 5. So it's going to be very interesting to see how all of that moves forward. But I think that's definitely part of what the subscriber loss is, because right now Netflix and Disney are going back and forth of who has the most. And I mean, they're not off by much, but it's still a good amount.
Oh, it is. And just to like a couple of other things that were kind of like in there too. Like, first of all, they're not the only one to merge to
No.
HBO Max and Discovery Plus are merging into Max. Paramount Plus and CBS already merged into just now Paramount Plus. So like all the studios are doing this
and
to try
about to be Showtime too.
And Showtime also, to try to consolidate content into one area. And I just want to say, like you said, not only is Iger predicting where it's going, but I shared an article, if you follow me on LinkedIn, that from 2 or 3 years ago, when this was all first starting and they were talking about launching Disney Plus, he told the board at that point, this is a long term. This is a marathon, not a sprint. And it will be a decade or more before we will see profit from the streamer. And here we are 3 years later, and they are not profitable and don't know when they will be. So Iger was on it before they even launched. He warned the shareholders and the board, we are not going to be profitable for a long time. So it is what it is. Everybody needed to go with the streamers, but everybody, at least Iger was smart enough to know, because I feel like these other CEOs were in panic mode. Like, Jesus Christ, we lost this and we're not making any money. We're not making. Well, if you had listened to Iger, he told you we're not going to make money. It's just, I mean.
Well, I for sure think like the remaining 5 will be Disney Plus and Hulu. They're going to be combined. Netflix, Max, and Discovery, they're going to be combined. Peacock and the Paramount Plus with everything they have under their umbrella. I think that's going to be the only ones left.
Apple's surviving, but they have money to survive.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if they're profitable because they don't need it.
Well, again, I mean, we know how tight Apple and Disney Plus are, so I wouldn't be surprised if some point down the line that goes underneath another tier as well. So it would be very interesting.
It would be. That rumor does not go away.
No.
That rumor of those two merging I don't think it would ever get past the regulators of the government.
Yeah.
I think they would consider that way too big to happen. But the rumor is persistent and does not go away. And boy, would that be some serious shit.
Yeah, I'm just assuming there could potentially be a bundle here soon.
Oh, I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, Apple, if you already have Apple TV Plus, it's already got, like, I go into the Apple app, and that's where I go to Showtime and all, several Paramount Plus. And so it's already kind of available underneath Apple. I think it only makes sense. I agree with you. At one point, somebody is going to be the only place you can go to get all the streamers.
Yeah.
And they'll all team together. There'll be a certain price where everybody splits the profits, but it'll be all one app and you're done and you can access all of the streamers.
Yeah, it's very interesting. But like we teased a little bit earlier, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Hopefully everybody went out to the cinemas and checked that one out. The conclusion to Marvel's trilogy about the extraterrestrial crew of misfits kicked off with 118 million in the domestic box office debut. Due to a better than expected turnout Sunday, Monday's final tally was higher than the weekend's estimated of 114 million. Despite the towering figure, the film ever so slightly missed expectations of 120. And arrived considerably behind its predecessor of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, which debuted at 146 million back in 2017. It's a jump on the first Guardians of the Galaxy, which introduced the world to Chris Pratt's Star-Lord and his friends. That one opened at 94 million back in 2014. The international box office of Guardians of the Galaxy 3 added 170 million from 52 markets, bringing its global tally to 289 million. Now, in China, which was once a huge territory for Marvel, but has increasingly hostile towards most Hollywood films, and especially the comic book prequel, collected better than expected, though, with 28 million to start. For Volume 3, the next few weeks will be very crucial as the summer movies start to kick off, especially with Fast X coming May 19th, and of course, Little Mermaid a couple weeks after that. Now, Disney's superhero sequel needs to sustain a momentum against those tentpoles to avoid the same fate as fellow Marvel installments, Ant-Man and the Wasp. Which ignited earlier this year to a mighty 106 million before immediately collapsing at the box office. So yeah, it is going to be very interesting. Those two may be the first ever movies that don't cross $1 billion.
Yeah. I mean, but this idea that, first of all, I wish they would stop making the comparisons, like failed to match Guardians 2. I don't think it's fair to compare any movie now to pre-pandemic numbers. It's the box office is just not the same.
Yeah.
The turnout I think it will never be the same. So the constant comparisons to anything pre-pandemic, I just think are ridiculous. And this idea that a movie that opens up worldwide to more than $250 million is a failure?
Yeah.
Like, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
Like $250 million, that's huge. And while it might not reach $1 billion, it will be profitable. So, I think everybody needs to lay off this. Unfortunately, Marvel set their own bar too high.
They did.
And now everybody's like, if you don't open at 300 million, you're a fucking failure.
Yeah.
100 million is huge. Like anything over 100 is huge.
Yeah.
But they ruin themselves with their own bar. It's
exactly.
like, oops. And does Disney care? Like, if it collapses, the one that it's going to be competing with is fucking Little Mermaid, which is also them.
Yeah.
So they're going to make
They're
the money no matter what.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly. That's fine.
20 years later, y'all, Lindsay Lohan and Jamie Lee Curtis are in talks to reunite for a sequel. That's right, to the hit body swap comedy Freaky Friday. The sequel is in the works at Disney, with Lohan and Curtis both expected to reprise their roles as mother-daughter duo Anna and Tess Coleman. Now, Elise Hollander, whose work has been featured on The Blacklist, is penning the script. Rumors started circulating about a potential sequel back in February when Jamie Lee posted a photo of her and Lindsay on Instagram with the caption, "It's Friday, I'm just saying, freaky fingers crossed." So now it is. It's happening. It was a pretty popular film. This is like the fourth incarnation of it. It's been done numerous times. But this one was the most financially successful. So it makes sense that they're finally doing a sequel.
Yeah, it's interesting. I wonder how they'll do a sequel to that, because it was like a twist of fate type of thing, Chinese restaurant, fortune cookie type thing. So I wonder, like, how that'll be approached. Well, anyway, Daredevil Born Again, Marvel's upcoming revival on Disney Plus, is the latest New York-based TV series whose production has been disrupted by the WGA strike. WGA members on strike set up a sunrise picket at Silver Cup East, where they were supposed to be filming Daredevil, but members of the Teamster Local 817 and Locals 829 and 52 are refusing to cross those picket lines, which only makes sense. Like we said earlier, a lot of these unions are standing together.
Yeah, which is terrifying because, guys, they're not even on strike and they're refusing to cross picket lines and work.
Yeah.
So it's going to get ugly. I'm just saying it's going to get ugly. Hulu, this is exciting, though, because we're both huge fans. Hulu will serve up season 2 of The Bear on June 22nd. Now, FX announced on social media it was previously revealed that the second season of the Chicago-based restaurant dramedy would premiere sometime in June, but now we know when. Starring Jeremy Allen White as Carmi Bizzardo. Barzado. There you go. The Bear follows a young, classically trained chef who returns after his brother dies by suicide. Now, the series also stars Ayo Iderebri, Iban Moss, Bacharach, Lionel Boyce, Liza Colin-Zayas, Edwin Lee Gibson, Abby Elliott, Corey Hendricks, Maddie Matheson, Richard Esteris, and Jose Cervantes. It's got to be the most complicated cast of named characters I've ever seen in my life.
It's true.
The Bear season 2 will be 10 episodes long, 2 more than the first season, and will focus, of course, if you guys know what the cliffhanger was at the end of it, they're opening a new restaurant. So that's where the focus is going to be, is on the new restaurant. I'm excited as hell. If you haven't checked that out, do it. It's a fucking phenomenal show.
It is. It really is. Well, the comedy pilot Deli Boys has been ordered to series at Onyx Collective on Hulu, with Brian George added as a series regular. Now, 20th Television serves as the studio. Created by Abdullah Shahid, the half-hour 10-episode series stars Asif Ali and Sagar Sakha as Mir and Raj Dar, respectively. When their convenience store's magnate father suddenly dies, the pampered Pakistani-American Dar brothers lose everything and are forced to reckon with their Bobby's secret life of crime as they commit to take up his mantle in the underworld. George has been added to the cast as Ahmad, and Baba's colleague, who has always had an eye on the top spot of the Dark Ho, and is willing to play whatever game he has to in order to take it. There's no love lost between him and the entitled boys, as he resents them since birth. Seems very intense, but also supposed to be kind of like a comedy. So
yeah, a comedy pilot. Okay, all right. Sounds more like a dramedy, but hey. Let's jump over to Fox. This one was really no surprise either. Animal Control's been renewed for season 2 at Fox. The renewal, as I said, comes as little surprise given the fact that the show is Fox's first wholly owned live action comedy. I can't believe that, but they own it outright. Now, per Fox, if you haven't seen it, the show's premiere was the network's most streamed scripted debut ever, drawing an estimated 4.5 million viewers across all platforms in its first 3 days of availability. Most recently, the network canceled the drama series Fantasy Island and the multi-cam comedy Call Me Cat. So I'm not surprised by those cancellations either.
No, I'm not either. And yeah, that one seemed to be pretty popular, especially on Hulu. Warner Brothers Discovery, whether or not you can say his name 3 times, well, Beetlejuice is returning to movie theaters next year. Warner Brothers has announced that Beetlejuice 2 will be released on the big screen on September 6th of 2024. It opens the same day as Marvel's Blade, which should be very interesting. Of course, the adventure starring Mashallah Ali. Otherwise, there's not much currently on the release calendar in the surrounding weeks. There's little information available about the follow-up to Tim Burton's 1988 film about a pesky poltergeist, but the filmmaker is returning with Michael Keaton as Beetlejuice, Winona Ryder as Linda Dettas, and additional cast members include Jenna Ortega, the daughter of going to be Winona's character, as well as Justin Theroux, and yet to be a unrevealed role. So that's very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Great guy, though. So super excited about that. Production is expected to commence in London on May 10th.
Yeah, so it's already underway.
Yeah, a lot of people are excited about it.
Oh my God. I'm just going to go on the record and say it right now, and I guarantee this will happen. Marvel will shift Blade's date. They'll blame the production delays because, as you guys know, it's on delay again. They'll blame that, but they are going to shift that date because they will get trampled. I'm just going to say it. They will get trampled by Beetlejuice because that has a and Marvel will not be willing to break its unprecedented record of every Marvel movie opening at number 1. And if it opens on the same day as Beetlejuice, that record will be snapped. No way Disney does it.
Yeah.
They will be moving that date. I guarantee you. Listen to me. If you're not Feige and Iger, move that date. Don't break your fucking record. Jason Statham comes face to face with not 1, not 2, but 3 deep sea dwelling prehistoric sharks, along with some giant ass creatures with a bunch of tentacles in the first official trailer for Meg 2, The Trench. Shortly after the Meg grossed $530 million worldwide in 2018, a sequel was confirmed. The original film followed a group of scientists whose submarine was attacked by megalodon. There you go. I knew I could say it. A species of giant shark previously thought to be extinct. Now, Warner Brothers has pulled back the curtain on the film after debuting its first trailer ahead of the movie's August 4th premiere. The new footage unveils Statham teaming up with Wu Jing, a massive star in China who has starred in blockbusters such as The Wandering Earth, Wolf Warrior, and The Battle of Lake Changjin. The pair lead an underwater journey to the bottom of the ocean to investigate new creatures before taking on a trio of sharks at a tourist destination at sea level. Of course, plenty of folks end up in the Jaws. Meg 2 will star Jason Statham, of course, Cliff Curtis, Sienna Guillory, Skylar Samuels, Paige Kennedy, and a whole bunch more, you guys. The Meg, I don't understand this one. I mean, it was okay. It's just a cheap knockoff of Jaws. So to make $500 million, I was shocked it made that much money. And then I just want to say, see, this is the comparison I'm talking about. This one is greenlit sequel immediately because it made more than $500 million. Guardians is going to easily make more than $500 million, but they're calling it a failure. So if you're a Marvel movie, the bar is here. If you're everything else, the bar is here. I'm just saying.
Yeah, it's the world we live in, man. Yeah, I never saw that one, so I don't know.
It's a cheap knockoff of Jaws.
It's there. It's there. Well, Ava DuVernay has ended her rich overall deal with Warner Brothers Television Group. While the news of this decision comes amid the writer's strike, the contract talks were unrelated, though. DuVernay's deal was set to expire May 31st, and the two parties came to a mutual decision not to renew. DuVernay signed a multi-year agreement back in 2018, which was reported to be valued around $100 million, following the parties' successful collaboration on OWN's Queen Sugar, which signed off last year after 7 seasons. So yeah, I mean, it's very interesting. And the Emmy-winning and Academy-nominated filmmaker is set to make and executive produce a half-hour romantic drama for Stars, starring Joshua Jackson and Lauren Ridloff. The series had regularly begun production in Wilmington, North Carolina, but has since then been put on pause due to the writer's strike. So sounds like a whole bunch of BS.
Oh yeah, and you can't tell me that ending of her deal was not because of everything going down. Totally,
you know.
Hey, HBO is bringing back its most beloved ultra-rich adult children fighting for the family business. We're talking, of course, about Gemstones. Danny McBride's absurdist mega church comedy returns for season 3 on June 18th as the Righteous Gemstones unveiled the first trailer for the next installment. The high-octane teaser clip features monster trucks, high-speed racing, and none other than Steve Zahn, who appears to play a well-dressed rival to Jesse, Judy, and Kelvin Gemstone, played respectively, of course, by Danny McBride, Edie Patterson, and Adam Devine. That is a crazy show with a huge following, so I know a lot of people are really excited about it.
It is a very crazy and huge show.
Oh,
yeah, just wild. If you haven't watched it yet, it is hilarious, and do not take it too seriously. The Winchesters has been canceled just after 1 season at the CW, with the network also canceling the reboot of Kung Fu after 3 seasons. This marks the latest cancellations at the CW. We've been talking about this one for the past while, with the network previously canceling Walker Independence. Now Walker, meanwhile, has been renewed for the next season, so the flagship one is good to go. And as the high school football drama All-Americans, the show follows All-American Homecoming. Superman and Lois and Gotham Knights are still awaiting word on their fates, though none are expected to continue at this time. And I know Jensen Ackles is trying to figure out what to do with the Winchesters. He's shopping that thing around. So we'll see.
I mean, that following is massive. So the Save the Winchesters could potentially be as successful as Save Daredevil. I don't know, but it's a huge following.
It is.
So, and I just recently read this morning too that the CW is talking about only keeping one DC show, either Gotham Knights or Superman and Lois. And it's leaning towards, and I can't fucking believe this, but it's leaning towards Gotham Knights because it's cheap. And apparently Superman and Lois is very expensive per episode to shoot, which makes sense because the graphics are fucking unreal and the CG effects and they're amazing. But are you fucking kidding me?
Zaslav just got paid though. Did you see that?
Oh
shit?
yeah.
He just got a nice little chunk of money and he's about to do all these parties and shit. But yeah, they're cutting everything. That's good.
Oh yeah, and these guys are taking money. Wait until we jump. We're jumping to Paramount. There's a story in here too about a cancellation that's about money, which is fucking unreal. But somebody's got to save Superman and Lois. Even Gunn said he would like to see it continue another couple seasons, and he's fucking working on a Superman film. So it's so good.
Yeah.
The story. They actually had an episode this season that was an entire episode without a single appearance of Superman. It was Clark the whole time. And it was one of the highest rated of the season. It's so real. They're dealing with cancer. Lois has cancer this season, and they're dealing with her and chemo and like all of the different. It's so fucking good. Don't let that show die, man.
Yeah.
I just feel like Nexstar better not fuck that up. Save that one, man.
Yeah, seriously. Well, Paramount had layoffs hit 25% of employees across Showtime, MTV Entertainment Studios, and Paramount Media Network groups in the U.S. this past week, following months of internal deliberations and interrogations amid Showtime's rebranding into Paramount Plus with Showtime, like we were talking about earlier. Additionally, MTV News, which was significantly affected by layoffs more than 5 years ago, will be completely shut down. Other units, most are operational. Some will be shuttered as well. These cuts come 4 months after Showtime laid off 120 employees while merging into MTV Entertainment Studios as part of the overall Paramount Plus with Showtime strategy. That's terrifying. You remember how popular MTV used to be, and now it's just like an entertainment studio and like doesn't really do anything like that?
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Well, the demise of MTV started when the M went away.
Yeah.
It was fucking music television, and music went away. They weren't even showing music videos anymore. It's fucking ridiculous. I mean, oh well. Speaking of fucking ridiculous, SWAT has been renewed for season 7 at CBS, which will also be the show's last season. Now, the move marks a stunning reversal of the network's decision to cancel the show earlier this week. Yeah, you heard me right. On Monday, it was canceled. Yesterday it's Brack. Like, it's fucking ridiculous. Now, according to sources, talks continued between CBS and the series co-producer Sony Pictures Television over the weekend following the cancellation announcement. The show has been a solid performer for CBS in its Friday night time slot, with the decision ultimately coming down to the show's financials. In addition to the renewal, series star Shamar Moore will serve as an executive producer on the final season.
Very interesting, man. Very interesting. I know that's a hit one. Well, CBS has canceled both police procedural shows, East New York and True Lies, after just one season. According to sources, the decision to cancel the series came down to CBS haggling with the series studio Warner Brothers Television over the show budget, which included CBS asking the cast to not get the consumer pay. Customary pay increases going into the second season.
Yeah.
Sounds like Zaslav just didn't want to pay it.
Like, what the fuck is with that? Like I don't understand. True Lies, I didn't even watch. I thought, why are we doing a True Lies television show? The movie was epic. We didn't need. But fucking East New York was a brilliant show. It was brilliantly written. The cast is phenomenal. It was the second highest rated new show behind Fire Country and was doing well in the ratings. So you're telling me it was canceled because they didn't want to pay the cast a customary raise that everybody gets in the second season? Are you fucking kidding me? They are actively trying to shop that show somewhere else. I think it would fit in brilliantly on NBC in a Law and Order type area, right? They love fucking crime procedurals on NBC. I think it's a good fit. Please, Dick Wolf, save that show. It'd be fucking amazing. CBS, this one's pretty awesome. CBS is supersizing two of its signature reality franchises. Survivor and The Amazing Race will permanently expand to 90-minute episodes next season. CBS will head into the fall with a primetime schedule that looks pretty much nearly identical to the one it's currently running. The Wednesday switch to just Survivor and The Amazing Race, for example, simply takes the night's current 10 p.m. inhabitant, the canceled True Lies, out of the equation. Now, last fall, CBS opened the season with 3 reality shows on that night: Survivor, The Real Love Boat, and The Amazing Race. So an all-reality Wednesday is not uncommon for the network, nor are expanded 90-minute editions of Survivor or The Amazing Race. But up until now, those were reserved for special moments like premieres or finales. So every episode is going to be 90 minutes now. That's awesome.
I don't like it. I just feel like that's too long. Like, that's a movie. Why are we watching a movie?
Well, you know what I think? It's going to be more of the behind-the-scenes drama stuff. You're going to get more of the testimonials, more things like that.
It'll be interesting to see how that goes over. Yeah, because, I mean, it's hard to fit in a 45-minute show, for me at least. So
no, I mean, you're right.
It's going to be, I'm gonna see how the fans react to that one. But, yeah,
real people break it up. Will they watch 45 minutes and then come back the next day, watch 45 minutes? That's a good point.
Who knows? Well, Justin Hartley is headed back to the Super Bowl. Hartley's new CBS drama, Tracker, has landed the best lead-in imaginable for a series premiere. The show has landed the COVID post-Super Bowl slot next season, launching behind Super Bowl, whatever the fuck that is, on Sunday, February 11th of 2024. It was a Roman numeral. That's what that was.
That was.
And premiering Tracker after the Super Bowl, CBS continues its return to the once common practice of using the biggest night on TV to launch a new series. The last time CBS ran the game in 2021, the network premiered The Equalizer behind the Super Bowl. And it worked. The Equalizer is still on the air and not yet been canceled. So kudos to them.
Yeah, no, yeah. I mean, I like that they said it was a once common practice, because back in my day, like every time, whatever network was airing the Super Bowl, they always had their premiere of like a brand new show behind it. And it was massively successful. The A-Team, like all kinds of huge shows premiered after Super Bowl. So it just makes sense. Super excited about both of these for huge reasons. CBS has ordered 3 shows. Notice I said both. Not so sure about the third one. But they've ordered 3 shows. Matlock, super excited. Elsbeth, super excited. And Papa's House, Not sure yet. To series for the 2023-2024 broadcast season. Now, Kathy Bates, he didn't get out of the cock-a-doodie car. She was just on our top 5 list.
She was.
Will star and executive produce the Matlock reboot, which follows a now successful Madeline Matlock as she rejoins the workforce at a prestigious law firm where she uses her unassuming demeanor and wily tactics to win cases and expose corruption from within. Now, this is why we're really excited. The series also stars 2 of our all-time favorite ITCAF guests, Sky P. Marshall as Olympia and the one and only Jason Ritter as Julian. Now, David Del Rio and Leah Lewis also star. Also coming from CBS Studios is Elsbeth. I fucking love this, which is based on the character featured in The Good Wife and The Good Fight. Now, the official logline reads, after her successful career in Chicago, Elsbeth Tassioni, played by the adorable Carrie Preston, just genius, an astute but unconventional attorney, utilizes her singular point of view to make unique observations and corner brilliant criminals alongside the NYPD. Carrie Preston, of course, stars as Elsbeth. Wendell Pierce as Captain C.W. Wagner. Now, Carrie Patterson as Officer Kaya. Okay, I'm excited about that. Now let's jump to Papa's House, which I'm not sure about yet, but it sounds like it could potentially be pretty fucking funny. Papa's House is a multi-camera comedy hailing from Damon Wayans Sr. and his son, Damon Jr. The series follows legendary talk show host and happily divorced Papa, played by Damon, whose point of views are challenged at home, where he still parents his adult son, Junior, played by Damon Wayans Jr., and at work when a new female co-host is hired. Now, Junior is described as a brilliant dreamer who is trying to pursue his passion while being a responsible father and husband. Joining the father-son duo is Essence Atkins and Totona Jackson as Ivy and Nina. So excited.
Yeah, they got some good stuff in the can, it seems like. So, I mean hopefully they don't cancel that after one season.
Did you ever see like any of The Good Wife or Good Fight? Elsbeth is one of the most creative, best, well-written characters ever created for television.
Nice.
And Carrie Preston plays her fucking brilliantly. I could not be more happy that she is getting a show on it because it's fucking great.
That's awesome. Well deserved, man. Well deserved. Well, heading over to NBC Universal, did you guys see a brand new trailer for Oppenheimer came out? The upcoming film from, of course, Christopher Nolan, who was on the picket line this past week.
Yep.
It's going to be released by Universal Pictures and in anticipation of the features film that comes out in July. The set to a dramatic score of Ludwig Göransson. And the newly dropped teaser officially offers a closer look at the key players of the Manhattan Project, as portrayed by the star-studded cast, including, of course, Cillian Murphy, Florence Pugh, Emily Blunt, Robert Downey Jr., Matt Damon, Leslie Groves Jr., Tom Conti, and who briefly appears to be a sombering Albert Einstein. Now, Oppenheimer centers around the legacy of J. Robert Oppenheimer, who is played by Murphy, if you guys don't know, and if you don't, where the fuck have you been?
Right.
Who has been cited as the inventor of the atomic bomb, based on the autobiographical novel American Prometheus, the triumph and tragedy of J. Robert Oppenheimer. The film follows the physicist as he works alongside a team of government scientists to develop the nuclear weapons in the early 1940s. Other actors confirmed to be appearing in the film include Rami Malek, Kenneth Branagh, Benny Sadi, Dane Hahn, Jack Quaid, Matthew Modine, should have been SAG-AFTRA, Aldine Ettridge, Josh Peck, Jason Clark, David, wow, that's the last name. Decimechin.
There you go.
Alex Wolff, Gary Oldman, and James Darkey. That's a lot of people, man. But I'm super excited about that one. Sadly, I don't think it's going to be a box office success, but I feel like it'll be a really good fucking film that people should fucking see.
It'll be an Oscar contender, and I wouldn't be surprised at all if they re-release it towards the end of the year for Oscar contention. And that cast, did you hear all those names? Are you guys kidding me? It's like damn near every A-lister in Hollywood is in this film.
Yeah.
And you know who cast it? Another one of our all-time favorite ITCAF guests, the Mr. Legendary casting director, John Papsadera, which, I mean, kudos.
Yes.
Because that, to assemble that cast is fucking insane.
So
That's
crazy.
oh my gosh. This is really cool. Even though I can't stand these movies, they should have ended ages ago. And I'm hoping this is the last one. I don't know. But this is a very nice tribute, and kudos to Vin for making this happen. Meadow Walker Thornton Allen, daughter of the late Fast and Furious star Paul Walker, was literally born into the Fast family. She was like one, maybe just under one when the first one came out. She is now going to make her first on-screen appearance in Fast X. Walker shared a behind-the-scenes photo on Instagram teasing her appearance in the Universal movie, which appears to take place on a plane. Now, Fast X is set to make its world premiere in Rome today, actually. Paul Walker died in a single car crash, if you don't remember, in 2013 at 40 years old. In the 10 years since his death, the Fast franchise has continued to pay tribute to both the actor and his character, Brian O'Connor, the undercover cop turned outlaw. Furious 7 marked Paul Walker's final on-camera appearance in the franchise, and his brothers, Caleb and Cody, actually stood in to complete his remaining scenes. After a heartwarming send-off, Brian's presence is still alluded to in the franchise's subsequent installments, 2017's Fate of the Furious and 2021's F9, The Fast Saga. In the latest film, the character reappears via flashbacks to 2011's Fast 5, making Meadows' inclusion even all the more touching. I think it is a nice tribute.
It is. It is. I mean, it really should have ended with 7, with that being the send off. But now they're saying something about 11.
I know,
like,
and they said
Jesus
for
Christ.
sure. I mean, they have said numerous times that 10 would be
10
the
would
final,
be the one.
but
yeah.
apparently not.
God, these people, man, these people. I mean, who else can you add to the freaking cast?
I don't
That's
know.
the thing. You
It's
got John
like-
Cena, you got fucking Brie Larson, you got Charlize Theron, you have like Gal Gadot,
Jason Momoa,
like Jason Statham. It's crazy. A new buddy comedy from Please Don't Destroy the writing trio of Saturday Night Live fame will no longer play in theaters.
Oh.
Instead, the untitled movie will premiere exclusively on Peacock, the streaming service owned by NBC Universal, on November 17th. The story centers on 3 childhood friends who live and work together. When the threesome decides that they don't like their life trajectory, they set off to find a gold treasure that is being rumored to be buried in the nearby mountain. They discover that the treasure that is actually the easiest part of the adventure. Universal didn't give a reason for the move from theaters to streaming, but it's been a tough environment for theatrical comedies. So, I mean, that makes sense. We'll see how that goes.
If I'm not mistaken, and if I am, our producer will call us out on it because he loves to do that. But I'm pretty sure this is the one that shot here in Charlotte with Conan O'Brien.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I think I'm pretty sure that's the one because I remember the storyline and I remember that they are the ones who were directing a film here.
Oh, okay.
So
that's cool.
We'll see. Yeah, that's kind of cool. For the past 2 seasons, Kelly Clarkson has filmed her talk show's premiere weeks in New York City, but now she's taking her show to the Big Apple for good. The Kelly Clarkson Show will move production from the Universal lot in Los Angeles to NBC Studios in 30 Rockefeller Plaza in New York for next season. The talk show will film in front of a studio audience in the iconic Studio 6A, which has been host to Jimmy Fallon and, speaking of, Conan O'Brien and David Letterman. A new state-of-the-art studio will be built for Clarkson's show, as well as technical facility and support space. Now, the East Coast move for the talk show follows the expansion of New York Film's tax credit, which was recently signed into law by Governor Kathy Hochul in the fiscal year of 2024. As part of the program's expansion, the state now provides incentives to eligible television productions that relocate to New York and reduces the eligibility requirements to talk and variety shows from 5 years of filming to 2 years.
Nice.
So it makes sense. They're going to save money. They're making the jump. She films there anyway. So it just seems like common sense.
Yeah, exactly.
It also seems to me like that cements the fact she's definitely not coming back to The Voice.
Yeah.
Because they still, unless she's going to get frequent flyer miles.
Yeah, exactly. You never know, man. Well, Lionsgate, the long-awaited Stars drama Heels, will soon be over. Season 2 of the series, starring Stephen Amell and Alexander Ludwig, will premiere Friday, July 28th at 9 p.m. Central Time. Additionally, the episode will be available at midnight for Stars app users. The streamer has also revealed some new photos from the upcoming season. Season 1, which aired back in 2021, ended with Jax and Ace exchanging real blows in the ring. and Crystal becoming the DWL's first female champion. I love the direction they're going with this storyline. It's so damn good, and it's such good acting in this thing. And growing up with wrestling, it's like fucking all around an amazing show.
Yeah, and I'm glad it's finally coming back. They literally shot season 2 right after season 1 ended 2 years ago, and it's been in the can just waiting to come out. Like, what? All the stars were even like what the fuck? We finished this thing a year and a half ago. Where the fuck is it? So I'm super pumped it's coming back.
Right.
Minx season 2 has also gotten an official premiere date at Stars. Now that the period comedy has officially moved over from HBO Max, the second season will premiere on July 21st at midnight on the Stars app, and all Stars streaming and on-demand platforms. Now, on linear, it will debut on Stars at 9 p.m. Eastern in the U.S. and Canada. The first season is currently available to stream on the Stars app. Minx, of course, if you don't know, is set in the 1970s Los Angeles, and per its official description, the series centers around Joyce, an earnest young feminist who joins forces with a low-rent publisher to create the first erotic magazine for women.
Ooh, interesting.
In season 2, Doug and Joyce grapple with Minx's explosive success, which brings more money, fame, and temptation than either of them know how to handle. So
it's a very interesting genre that no one really ever talks about, the erotic novel genre.
Yeah,
I mean, very interesting. And I love that they're making a show about it, a movie about it. No, show.
Show.
And
if you're a fan of what's your face? What's that show?
Yeah, that show.
It'll come back to me.
Yeah,
it'll come back.
Are you the one on Netflix?
No.
Okay.
No.
All right. Well, Amazon MGM, Ben Affleck's Air. We love this movie so much. We updated you when it's going to happen. Well, now it has officially happened. It's on freaking Prime Video. You can watch it right now.
Yes.
It debuted April 5th to more than 350,000 screens, 305,000 screens. 3,500
there you go,
which marked an unprecedented theatrical release for Amazon, as the studio affirmed its $1 billion commitment to making movies for the big screen. The film is produced by Amazon Studios, Skydance Sports, and Mandalay Pictures, and it's the inaugural project from Affleck and Damon's Artist Equity. Now, directed by Affleck and scripted by Alex Convery, Air tells the story of the Nike basketball division, signed then NBA rookie Michael Jordan into a historic partnership that revolutionized the world of endorsement deals with the creation of Air Jordan's brand. Now, Damon stars as Maverick, Nike executive Sony Verco, who scouted Jordan for the deal, and Affleck as Nike's co-owner Phil Knight, and Viola Davis portraying Jordan's mother, Dolores. To date, Air has grossed $74.7 million worldwide, with praise from audiences with an A cinema score and critics alike. So it only makes sense.
Oh my gosh. And do yourselves a favor, watch this movie.
So
I think we both agree it's the best movie of the year so far. And with only 74 million worldwide, nobody's seen it.
Yeah.
It's the best movie of the year and nobody has seen it. Make sure you're streaming it on Prime.
I hope they re-release it around Oscar time so it can get nominated, because I feel like it would.
Oh, totally. I totally agree. Definitely Ben Affleck for Best Director, and Damon for Actor. I think both of them should get a nomination without doubt. And it was the New Girl. New Girl. If you like Jake Johnson as Nick on New Girl, you'll love him on Minx. Like, I was like, why can't I think of the name of that fucking show?
That's hilarious.
But there you go. Thank you, IMDb.
There
it is the Bible. Prime Video has slated the premiere date for the 4th and unfortunately final season of Tom Clancy's Jack Ryan, the espionage action series, which stars the one and only John Krasinski as the CIA spy, will premiere the first 2 episodes of its final season on June 30th. 2 episodes will be released weekly thereafter, with the finale of the 6-episode season debuting on Prime Video on July 14th. Now, the new episodes of Jack Ryan come to the streamer only 6 months after the 3rd season debuted in December. Prime Video debuted all 8 episodes of season 3 simultaneously over the winter, but has shifted back to the weekly release structure for the final season. The series was renewed for a 4th season prior to airing episodes of the 3rd. It is a wildly popular series, and Krasinski, everybody loves him, so.
It only makes sense. Well, head over to Netflix. Stranger Things has halted works on its final season season. No fucking shit. As the series co-creators and co-showrunners, the Duffer Brothers, known as the Duffer Brothers, shared a statement announcing that the starting production is not possible during the ongoing Writers Guild of America strike. The Duffer Brothers issued a statement from the Stranger Things Twitter account, which has offered Stranger Things fans a glimpse into the series' writer's room over the years. Writing on the fifth and final season commenced back in August of 2022, shortly after the fourth season premiered. Representatives for Netflix were not immediately available for comment, as most of the streamed series of 2022 Stranger Things, now a growing group of Netflix series as such as Big Mouth and Cobra Kai, facing delays and production pauses amid the writer's strike. The original Stranger Things concludes fans can expect an animated series set with Stranger Things world, which is set to be produced by the Duffer Brothers as well, as along with Sean Levy and Dan Cohen. Yeah, the biggest gripe I have with the Duffer Brothers is they don't write while they're shooting, so like they literally finish shooting and then start writing. I'm like, oh my God, you got to wait so fucking long.
Yeah, and now even longer because they're on strike. Netflix released a trailer for a new documentary about the life and career of Arnold Schwarzenegger.
It looks really good.
The three-part series, Arnold, chronicles the action icon's bodybuilding success, Hollywood box office rise, and political career as the governor of California. Now, the official description reads as follows. This three-part documentary series chronicles Arnold Schwarzenegger's journey from the countryside of Austria to the highest echelons of the American dream. In a series of candid interviews, Schwarzenegger, his friends, foes, co-stars, and observers cover everything from his days pumping iron to his triumphs in Hollywood, his time governing the state of California, and both the joys and turbulence of his family life in a tale that matches his larger-than-life persona. The documentary debuts this week, right on the heels of Netflix's release of Schwarzenegger's first TV series, the action comedy FUBAR, which will be released May 25th. Now, in the meantime, the streamer has loaded up on some other of Schwarzenegger's film catalog, including Conan the Barbarian, Twins, and The Last Action Hero.
Did you watch the trailer?
I did. It looks amazing.
It got me really excited. Like Arnold Schwarzenegger was one that I used to watch a lot of his movies with my grandfather, so that's like a core memory for me. And I just feel like, you know, being able to him being as transparent about his life as possible, and you know, the hidden child and all that shit with the maid. And I just feel like, you know, I like Arnold. I don't give a fuck. I mean, you know, he owns his shit, so that's good.
Well, yeah, I'm thrilled that they are not shying away from the marriage to Maria Shriver, and like, you know, because that was contentious anyway. Everybody thought, what the fuck? He's marrying a Kennedy and he's a fucking Republican. And like, how's that going to? And so that was like a fairy tale type thing to begin with. And then, like you said, the hidden child and the affair and like all. I'm glad, because sometimes with these things, they sugarcoat and move past that. And he's going to dive into it, which is probably in all likelihood the biggest controversy of his whole career and lifespan.
I mean, to be honest, because I don't remember anything else like bad coming out about him.
No, so. I mean, you know, he was kind of an arrogant, pompous ass during his bodybuilding days, but who the fuck isn't when you're bodybuilding?
Well, yeah, and that man was taking a shit ton of steroids. There's no way he was not. Come on. Well, heading over to Apple TV has released the first trailer for The Crowded Room, a psychological thriller series starring Tom Holland, Amanda Seyfried, and Emmy Rossum.
Wow.
Based on the true crimes of Billy Milligan, the show was created by Akiva Goldsman, who wrote the 2001 film A Beautiful Mind. And it is inspired by Daniel Keyes' 1981 nonfiction novel, The Minds of Billy Milligan. Set in the heat of Manhattan in the summer of 1979, The Crowded Room follows the arrest of Danny Sullivan, who's played by Holland, for his involvement in the shooting at the Rockefeller Center. Danny works with investigators Raya Goldwyn, who's played by Seyfried, who leads him to recall the past that drove him to commit the crimes. Holland's character is set to be loosely based on Milligan, who in 1979 was arrested for the rape of 3 women on a Ohio State campus. Now, the first 3 episodes are set to premiere June 9th on Apple TV Plus, and episodes will be airing weekly. So stay tuned for that.
Did you see him? He talks about this role. Apparently, he got very dark and very depressed and very like it caused him a lot of problems. And he just came out and said that he's been sober for a year, but he's been battling alcoholism and a lot of this was heavy, and he got really dark and it tormented it affected his personal life. I don't know what that means during that time with Zendaya or all that. But kudos to him for coming forward. That's like twice now. We had Jason Ritter and now Tom Holland who are coming forward and saying, I'm an alcoholic and I've been battling alcoholism and I've been sober for this long, but it's a thing. And it just goes to show you. And I just wanted to say it kudos, because a lot of people think when you have money, everything's fine. You know, you can have fame, you can have celebrity, you can have money. It doesn't mean you don't have shit in your life that causes some problems. And turning to alcohol, many people do. And I just like to see people come forward and say, me too. I'm there too.
Yeah.
So
I definitely feel like this was around the time where he took his little social media sabbatical. So that makes complete sense. But man, oh man, let's lighten up a little bit, because we have the one and only Will Martinez coming on the show. We're super freaking excited about it. Talk about all this stuff that's going on right now in his life. We're talking about his favorite restaurants in New York. We're talking about all of these different things. Maybe he's a Knick fan. Who knows? I mean, with everything that's going on right now. But man, I'm super excited. This guy is so nice, so humble, and a great up and comer to tell the reality of what it means to be an actor in this industry.
And also to have a backup plan. He
Yeah.
talks briefly about that too, which is great. And I love how he said, let's lighten it up. We're going to dive into a love triangle and how he busted that shit up.
Yeah.
Like the
Exactly.
So
it's
good.
going to be great. It's going to be great. Well, here he is. And if you're watching this video on YouTube, man, oh man, you can check out that interview right now after the show is over. It's a great freaking interview. Not a lot of time, so just check it out. I mean, you know, you got a lot of freaking like opportunities this weekend, so check it out. It's a really good one.
Yes.
Especially if you're an up and comer. All right, now let's do the back half and jump into this top 5. All right, now it is time for the top 5 segment. And man, oh man, this is an interesting one this week, because we like to coin ourselves as big Marvel fans, but we do have some movies that we do not like. So this week's top 5 is top 5 least favorite MCU films, which will be very controversial for both of us.
I have to say, when I was looking at the rundown, preparing for the show, and I saw your list, I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
I disagree with, well, most of you,
the ones that are not the same.
3 out of the 5 I disagree with. I'm like, what are you talking about? But we'll get into it.
It's okay. I disagree with one of yours too, so it's fine. Oh my goodness. Number 5 for me goes to Captain America: First Avenger.
Right off the bat.
Right
what
off
the fuck?
the bat. I'm not a fan. I feel like it was slow. Obviously, I mean, it's a fucking literally first Avenger, so you have to do the first origin story, even though it wasn't the first in the chronological order, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But I just, I wasn't really sold on Chris Evans when I was that age, and I still go back, and it's still my least favorite Captain America, because obviously the other two are just so fucking brilliant. But I mean, I don't know, man. I wasn't a fan, and I didn't really care for the dynamic of Red Skull. And of course, this is me going in as the just the movie guy and not the comic book guy. So I know there's so many more layers to that onion. But I'm not crying about it, because one of my least favorite MCU films is Captain America for First Avenger. I didn't like it. I didn't like it.
First of all, like Red Skull. What?
Didn't like
He's so okay. And then this movie was absolutely necessary because it sets up everything you love. Literally, it sets up Bucky, which sets up the Winter Soldier.
It does.
It sets up Captain America and the Falcon, where you get the transition to Sam as Falcon.
Yep.
All of that. It sets up all of it. There's even a picture hanging in the Captain America Museum in Falcon and the Winter Soldier of Captain America with the door from this movie. It was set all in advance. And I thought they did a brilliant job of telling you the origin, because I've seen some other Captain America movies that fuck up the origin in just ridiculous ways, and it's a pretty straightforward origin. So
listen, I didn't say it wasn't necessary. I didn't say the film wasn't necessary. I just said I didn't like it.
All right.
Yeah.
I mean, Peggy, and like, it's just all right.
It's fine.
No, it's fine.
It's fine.
All right. Now, I will say my number 5, and I'm going to say the same thing that you said off the top of yours about Captain America First Avenger, and I would use that to debate yours.
Mhm.
If you thought that was slow burner, like Eternals.
Yeah.
So I want to clarify, okay, and this is why it's number 5, because it shouldn't be on the list, but it is on my list because the whole first act, or let's put it this way, the first half of the first act, unnecessary.
Yeah.
It was
For sure.
slow, drug out, slow burner. It felt like you were there for 14 hours and it was only like 45 minutes, but it was like 14 hours of field time, because they literally went into this in-depth, overdone, drawn out explanation as to who the Eternals are.
Yeah.
They felt like they had to do that, I guess, because they're a lesser known group. And unless you're a comic geek, you have no idea who they are. But Guardians of the Galaxy, nobody knew who the fuck they were. And you're talking about a talking tree and a talking raccoon. They didn't go into some big drawn out long explanation telling us 45 minutes to get to the fact of who they were.
Yeah.
And it blew up. It was huge success. It just wasn't necessary. You should just come into it and say, whether you know who these people are or not, boom, they're the Eternals. Here's the movie. Here's their powers. Here's the bad guy. Boom. By the end of the movie, you would have loved them without the 45-minute explanation as to who the fuck they were.
Yeah.
You didn't need it. And so that's why it's on my list as one of my least favorites, because I just felt like it was a long, drawn-out first act that wasn't necessary. Had they started the movie 45 minutes in and that was the starting point, it wouldn't even be on my list. It would be a great movie.
That makes sense. I completely agree. Like, I don't know. Something about that one, I was just like, I think the overall, just having fucking my boys from Game of Thrones in there, like, that was completely distracting to me the whole time. So I was just like, it's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine. I love what they set up, though. So, I mean, that's what I'm excited for. And to have Harry Styles come in and do all that shit. So it'll be very interesting to see how that one moves forward. But notice how we haven't heard anything about how that one's going to move forward. So,
yeah, well, other than Firefox, we know
That's
but with the rest of the Eternals, we have no idea.
Yeah, exactly. Number 4 for me goes to the Incredible Hulk. You want to know why? And this may be a surprise to you, because I don't know if I've voiced this opinion to you. I don't like Ed Norton. I think he's fucking, I don't know. I just don't like him. Just something about him. He falls in that Timothy Chalamet for me. But he just, I don't know, man. Just something about him. I like the other guy. Not, obviously not
Mark Ruffalo.
Not Mark Ruffalo. I like the other guy. I forget who he was.
Eric Bana?
Yeah, I liked him better.
That movie was fucking awful.
I liked that movie better.
Oh my God. He was the wrong green. He was a giant. He looked like Godzilla instead of the Hulk. Hulk gets bigger and stronger as he gets angry, but he doesn't get that fucking big, and he doesn't get like weird ass green.
I liked it better.
Oh my God. And the fucking gamma dogs and shit. What the fuck?
It was so much better than fucking Ed Norton and his fucking talking to Brad Pitt looking ass. Not there. Like, it's fine. But I'm just saying, I didn't know if I ever voiced that to you. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like he's a pompous ass.
Are you saying you're not a fan of fucking Fight Club because of Ed Norton?
Oh, I like Fight Club. Brad Pitt's in Fight Club. But yeah, I don't like Ed Norton.
Birdman?
Yeah, I've never seen Birdman.
Oh,
Yeah, I've never seen Birdman. Yeah.
It's one of Keaton's. He won the fucking Oscar for it.
I know.
And Norton and Emma Thompson, they're like not Emma Thompson, Emma Stone.
There it is.
Fantastic in that film.
I know.
Oh my gosh.
I know. But yeah, the other guy's better.
Okay, well, I'm just going to give commentary on that one too. I loved that movie because they finally got him right.
Yeah.
He does get bigger and stronger as he gets more angry. They had him the right color, the right tone. You did see him increase and decrease in size depending on the fights and the battles that he was doing and everything. I thought it was a beautiful tribute to Bill Bixby's and Lou Ferrigno's Incredible Hulk TV show. They even played the music at the end, and he's got the duffel bag and he's walking off. I thought Norton and his dynamic was fantastic with Betty Ross and Bruce. I thought it was, and she's coming back, by the way. Liv Tyler is coming back as Betty. I just thought it was maybe because I was such a huge fan of the TV show and
Maybe.
it did such an homage to the TV show. Maybe that's why I like it so much.
Yeah.
I know this is on many people's least favorites.
Yeah.
It's just not popular amongst most people. And it's money wise, it's one of the least successful,
Yeah.
but I really liked it.
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
Yeah.
you're not most people. It's okay.
no,
it's fine.
It's fine.
You're
It's
in your
fine.
own lane. You're in your own lane.
I am. My number 4, I think everybody agrees.
Yeah.
Thor.
Yeah.
Thor was just not good.
Mm-mm.
This is not a knock against Kenneth Branagh. He's a brilliant director and everything. And this is not a knock against Natalie Portman.
Mm-mm.
Definitely not a knock against Chris Hemsworth. I think Chris Hemsworth is the perfect Thor.
Yeah.
Nobody will play Thor better. The movie sucked.
Yeah.
It just wasn't good. And that's because Kenneth Branagh, and I hate to say this, but Taika Waititi, and I don't even know who the fuck directed the second one. None of them got the tone of Thor right.
Yeah.
They just didn't get Thor right. But Thor was right in every Avengers movie. He was brilliant. That's Thor. Thor coming down in fucking Infinity War, swinging the battle axe and fucking laying the axe into fucking Thanos. Like, that is Thor. He's a cocky, arrogant, badass motherfucker. He does not crack jokes. He does not they just did not get the tone of him right. And so that's the problem that I have. They got his origin right. They did Asgard right. I liked Anthony Hopkins as Odin.
Yeah.
There were aspects of it that were correct, but just Thor was not correct.
Yeah.
And the movie is Thor. So it's kind of like, anyway.
Yeah. Alan Taylor
Okay.
did.
Okay. Well,
Thor
he
the
didn't
Dark
get
World.
it right either.
He didn't, obviously, because number 3 for both of us is Thor the Dark World.
Yeah.
It was so fucking boring.
It was.
I mean, that's the problem with a good amount of the Thor franchise in general. I feel like is really dropped the ball on that one. So yeah, I mean, there's really nothing more to say because you kind of summed it up in that one, because it's kind of the same thing with the first one and the second one. It's just like you have aspects right and you lead into Loki being the big baddie, but it still was like, okay, this is really fucking boring. So yeah, number 3 and for both of us.
Yeah. And look, I'm just gonna say it. Ragnarok is not on either one of our lists, but I think the only reason Ragnarok is not on either one of our lists is because of Mark Ruffalo and Hulk. I think Hulk carried that movie. It only worked because of their dynamic back and forth. It's like in the first Avengers where they're battling as to who's stronger, and at the end of the fight, Hulk just fucking decks him. Bam!
Yeah.
Knocks him out of it. Their dynamic works. That is how Thor would be with Hulk and Hulk with Thor. I think that's the only reason Ragnarok worked, and it's why it's not on the list.
Yeah, I feel like I don't know. Sometimes you struck gold and then can't recreate that.
Exactly.
So I feel like that's what that was.
Yeah, and we'll be getting to that.
Yes, we will.
So
Yes,
what's your number 2?
Number 2 for me is Guardians of the Galaxy 2. This one was also pretty slow for me, and I really just did not like the villain. I did not like the fucking, I'm a planet, but I can fuck people. I just felt like that was really weird. I didn't like that aspect. I get Guardians are weird, but I mean, just for me, I just didn't. I wasn't feeling it. I would have much preferred another extraterrestrial like Roman, or the fucking or whatever we had in the third one. But yeah, I mean Egot, whatever the fuck his name is, the planet.
Yeah,
really
so in defense of this one, because I agree with you. I did not like the villain either. I'm a huge fan of Kurt Russell, but I just did not like that. I think that the whole movie was supposed to center more around Adam Warlock, and it was supposed to, we just recently found out, include the death of Gamora.
Yeah.
And he had to rewrite basically the whole thing because Marvel shut him down because they had a plan for Gamora to die in the Infinity Wars, and Endgame. And he basically had to go and just redo this film. And I think that's why, out of the 3, it suffers a bit. It's because of that reason. Gunn had to go back and change things that he didn't want to change. And so I agree. I think that kind of messed with it.
Where's your check from Marvel? You're defending all of these movies.
No.
I'm just saying.
I'm not really defending that movie so much as I am James Gunn, because it's hard as a director and a writer who's got a storyline that you're trying to play out, and then you get overridden and told to change it last minute.
Yeah.
Han Solo, the Solo movie.
Prime example.
A prime example of, no, you need to change that shit. By the way, we're bringing in a new director, and it doesn't work when things like that happen. Exactly. So in his defense, I feel like that's why it's the weakest of the three.
Yeah.
My number 2 is Iron Man 2. I think this was a rush job from start to finish, and you guys know what I feel about Favreau. I fucking adore Jon Favreau. I think the man is a brilliant director, and everything that he does and everything about, he's got it all. But I think this was a rush job and I know it's hard to say rush job when there were so many Marvel films in between Iron Man 1 and Iron Man 2, but this movie's sole purpose was to introduce Black Widow. And I don't think it was for any other reason. Mickey Rourke's Whiplash was fucking awful. It was god awful. It's definitely by far the worst of all the Iron Man movies. And it would, like I said, in my opinion, I think it was strictly to introduce Black Widow. And they could have done that in a far better way than using an entire Iron Man movie to do it. I'm sorry. It's on my list because it was bad.
I understand. Mickey Rourke in general, like nowadays, I feel like is just a hilarious, like kind of like Cracker Jack box character that you could throw into anything.
Oh yeah, not wrong.
Not wrong. I just thought that was very interesting. And like, what was like the animal? Did he have like a fucking swan or like a bird or something?
Yeah,
like
just the whole...
It was a very interesting character. But I didn't mind Iron Man 2. I mean, I kind of whatever. Right? Anything with Iron Man I was a fan of because that's my number 1. But I understand. That's the grievance of that one. Number 1 for both of us. I mean, some people liked it, a lot of people fucking hated it. I just felt like, what the fuck am I watching right now? Like the only thing that made it kind of decent was Christian Bale. And
who did a brilliant job playing.
He did a great fucking job. But we're talking about Thor: Love and Thunder. This is like the biggest piece of dog shit that Marvel has put out there. I just want to say.
No, without doubt. This was, hey, look, Thor Ragnarok with comedy worked. Let's do it again. No, as we discussed, it only worked because of the Hulk dynamic with Thor. This proves that was the reason it worked, and this one doesn't. First of all, it was long. It took forever to get to all the meaty stuff in Act 3. I almost literally wanted to walk out of it, and I would never walk out of a Marvel movie. I almost wanted to walk out of this one. It took way too long to get to the satisfying stuff with Christian Bale and in the third act, and Thor sort of being Thor in the third act. But this one, again, I highly criticize as not getting Thor right. The fucking back and forth, being jealous that Jane has the hammer, the love affair with talking to the battle axe, like what the fuck?
It was
that he would never fucking do that shit. They just never fucking do that shit. This is a Norse fucking god. Like, he's not talking to his hammer with like having a jealous love affair. It was a fucking love triangle. What the fuck?
It was very odd. And I mean, I felt bad to bring that back to Natalie Portman. Have that be like something that she came back to, and you're like, oh my God. And it's funny that you said it was long because it felt long, but it was one of the shortest Marvel movies.
Getting to the third act. That's what it seemed very long.
Like it was crazy. Like you're just like twiddling your thumbs. You're like, is this fucking over yet?
And here's where they dropped the ball, because that storyline, literally her becoming Thor, her being worthy of the hammer and becoming Thor to save her because she's dying from cancer. What part of that storyline screams comedy to you?
Exactly.
This could have been such a great telling of that love story between the two of them, his sacrifice to give up and let her become Thor to save her. It could have been epic. And instead, it was a fucking disaster, a comedy that you never want to fucking see again.
No.
Like, it's just, oh my God, it was so bad.
Yeah, it was a little rough. Definitely don't recommend that.
No, don't. If you want to watch Thor, watch all of the movies that he's in other than the Thor movies.
Yeah, literally.
Like,
That's it. Oh my goodness. It's crazy, guys. It's crazy. But we want to know your least favorite MCU movie. Please, please, please be sure to comment below. We want to know your thoughts and opinions. Do you agree with us? Do you disagree with us? Let's get into a debate. Let's fucking do it.
Yeah.
But of course, on Twitter and the YouTube comment section, we love it. Again, top 5 least favorite MCU films.
This will be a debatable one. Please comment, because this is a debatable one.
It's so good. It's so good. Well, heading over to the box office recap. Oh my goodness. Like we said in the industry news segment, the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 came in at number 1 with $118 million at the box office. Super Mario Brothers came in at number 2 with $18.6 million at the box office. Evil Dead Rise came in at number 3 with $5.9 million at the box office.
There you go.
Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret came in at number 4 with $3.2 million. And number 5 was Love Again with $2.4 million.
Yeah, total flop. Not even Jonas could save it.
Like, it's true. It's true. New movies that are coming out this week: The New Book Club, The Next Chapter,
which apparently is also well on its way of being a total flop.
Yeah. The experts are predicting around 10 million. I'm going for the under on that one.
Me too. If it cracks 10, I'll be shocked.
Yeah, exactly. And Blackberry, whatever the fuck that one is. And I mean, let's be honest about it, guys. No one else is even trying to compete with Guardians. Song has the balls to release a Spider-Man Homecoming, Venom, Good Luck Book Club, and Blackberry. That's from our producer.
Yeah.
But goodness gracious, there's a lot happening, man. So just get out and see Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3.
Please do it.
Definitely.
Keep that thing number 1 until Little Mermaid comes out.
Yeah. Exactly. New movies you can still go see right now: John Wick Chapter 4. That the only reason I know that Roman numeral is fucking
because you know it's the 4th one.
I know it's the 4th one. Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Among Thieves, Air, The Covenant, and a couple of other ones. So be sure to go check those out. The top trending movie this week. What do you think it is?
Let's see. If I had to go out on a limb, I'd say Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
Yeah, oh my goodness. It only makes sense, guys. It only makes sense. The top trending TV show is Succession.
Oh my gosh. It's fucking brilliant. Every week there's another shocker that like it has to be number 1 because it's like I'm so sad it's going off the air.
Exactly.
I'm so sad.
Exactly. And the top trending star, the hottest IP right now in Hollywood, we're talking about Ana de Armas. She's everywhere, guys.
She is
absolutely everywhere. So be sure to watch all of the movies that she has out right now and just be prepared for all of them. Some are comedy, some are really hardcore, deep into shit, aka blonde. So be sure to check all of those out. But guys, thank you so much for getting crazy with us on episode 224 of ITCAF Podcast. We got to thank our guest one more time, Will Martinez, for coming on the show. Be sure to follow him at Will Martinez 07 on Instagram. And of course, thank you guys so much. Be sure to follow the company and podcast on social media at ITCAFpodcast and at Crazy Ant Media. And you guys know you can subscribe to this podcast anywhere you listen to your podcast: Anchor, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play Music, iHeartRadio, Podbean, Stitcher, and so much more. And you guys know you can follow us both personally on social media. Myself at J Logan Austin and
at Crazy Ant CEO.
Yeah, buddy. Yeah. And of course, be sure to visit our website, www.crazyantmedia.com, where you can start rocking the latest and greatest Crazy Ant Media gear, 15% off right now, like we said. So be sure to head over there and start seeing what we have available. Yes. We have everything from cups to teddy bears to pillows to dog hankies that you can put around their neck and all the good things. And we have some Everything's Okay podcast merch up there as well. That is our mental health podcast. So if you want to feel like you're not alone, be sure to check that one out as well. If we can help one person, one episode at a time, that's all that matters.
Oh yeah.
But man, it was a great freaking episode. I think the most in-depth that we've been getting about the writer strike and how updated we've been about that has been my favorite, because it has been like a sense of controversy. And I was just so pissed with Fran, the SAG-AFTRA president, with those comments. And she said that shit in front of Paramount, in front of a picket line. Like, I was so pissed that she was trying to be as neutral as possible when it's like, you could also go on strike, and you're the most divided union in the entertainment industry. So what are you even saying right now?
Well, and I don't know how many people know this, but Fran is a writer and a member of the WGA, and she was in front of the picket line, but she wasn't on the picket line.
Exactly.
So that should tell you everything.
She wasn't holding a sign.
Yeah,
like
she's
nothing.
serious about not striking because she isn't even out there with the writers, and she's a member of the guild. So I don't know. Yeah, I think it was pretty shitty, and like I said, a lot of our actor friends, they didn't like it either. So I don't know. I'm sure that there will be some that support her because, as you said, it's a very divided union. And but yeah, that's going to be interesting. And what I really like about our coverage so far over the past few weeks since this thing started is how it's affecting people that aren't members of the Writers Guild, and what it's doing to productions, and what it's doing to crew, and what it's doing, to different unions. And it's interesting. I mean, it's not just the writers; it's affecting the entire industry in a whole, in a lot of ways. And I think it's going to get much worse before it gets better.
Agreed, man. Agreed. And it's also fun to talk about the streaming bubble because it's very interesting right now. So catch the shows while you can because some are going to get consolidated and taken off. All the good stuff, man. All the good stuff. Well, someone else who is amazing and stands by her right to party. Got to fight for your right to party. The one, the only, Oprah. Oh my goodness.
She stands by her right to party.
Yeah, why not?